Hi, I'm Peter from Swedish Reptile Rooms. A couple of months ago we built us a shelf system for our terrariums. You can see it here behind me. This gave us three things. We got much more space, we got all the terrariums lined up for better display, and it gave us much more space for accessories. And in this video we're going to show you how we did it. There are a couple of things to think about when it comes to planning. The first thing we did was a drawing of the wall with the right measures in scale where we planned to have the shelves. After that we draw and cut out our existing terrariums, also to scale. In this way you can test and plan for the whole layout without doing any mistakes. Try to place your heaviest terrarium at the bottom, then it's easier to build good support from the floor. And place the smallest at the top. Also try to think about how you will use the room. Maybe you have a terrarium that you need to maintain often, or like we have an aquarium for all kind of temporary things. Right now we have two turtles in it, but we can easily change it to fit for a snake or a lizard. In that case it may be good to have that terrarium in the center of the wall. The really heavy terrariums can be placed near a side wall. In that case they come directly over the supporting legs in the corner. And if you can attach your construction directly to the wall, the supporting will be even better. Another thing to consider is the aesthetics. If you have a really beautiful terrarium or animal, that can be a reason to place it more into the center. Also try to do the measuring of your terrariums as accurate as possible. Don't measure 14-inch-ish. That wrong half of an inch or a centimeter can ruin your whole setup if you're doing it wrong. And don't forget that the construction in itself takes space. The supporting legs in the shelf system have a width. Don't forget to take that in consideration when laying out your plan. Also think about the height of the shelves. You need to have heights that take the lamps into consideration. And you want some space over the lamps so that the heat doesn't go too high in the construction. Think about the space behind the terrariums. You will need this for cords, outlets and other stuff, so don't let it be too small. So try to think freely and don't get caught up in how you had it before. For instance, you can have your lowest terrarium a bit up and give room for boxes underneath. We did that and it has been a fantastic solution for all accessories. For aquariums, that's also better for easy water shift. One important thing to reflect on is how the shelves should be constructed to host the weight. I am by no means an expert on mechanics and strength, but if you just think twice about these things, you're probably going to work it out. One starting point is to look at how your current arrangement looks. If your terrarium stands on a table, take a look at it and try to translate that to what you are building. Think about where the downward forces are, place the heaviest on top of vertical beams or very near them. Try to distribute the weight over horizontal beams and put in some extra vertical beams where you see that it's needed. In our case, we did just that under the aquarium in the middle. It holds 120 liters of water and therefore the maximum weight will be maybe 140 kilos. One horizontal beam could not hold all that, we assumed, so we built two vertical beams to support that, and it felt that it was enough. Now we had it up and running for several months and it's working great. Another thing to consider is the future. Is there any animals you will get in the near future it would be wise to take them and their terrariums into the planning as well. So, now you have a bunch of input to work with when you do your layout planning. The work starts with buying the stuff. In this case, it's not that expensive, but there are some considerations to do. One very important is if there are standard measures on things in your country that you can use. In our case, the boards came in widths of 55 centimeters, and that was perfect for the depth of our shelves. So by choosing just that width, we saved us a lot of sewing. When it comes to choosing screws, you should have to go by the thickness of your beams. You don't want the screws to get out on the other side of the beam. If you can attach the beams directly to the wall, then you probably need some kind of special plug and a longer screw. To connect all the beams to each other, we use several methods. In some cases, we just screw them together with long screws. In others, we used angle brackets, mostly depending on how much space there was to do the two things. One important thing in this stadium is to get everything leveled. It looks better and the strength of the whole construction will benefit from that. We used the spirit level and we used it a lot. Almost before every connection, I controlled it to see that everything was in level. Our wooden beams was not that thick that we needed an electric saw to cut them, but an electric screwdriver was an incredible help. One thing we learned was that it's best to have an empty room to work in. The beams are quite long and you need a place to sew and somewhere to store the material. We didn't do that. We just moved the terrariums temporarily to the opposite wall and back again as fast as possible, and that led to many concerns under the building process. Not to talk about all the curious lizards that wanted to participate. So, some final thoughts. Take your time. If you're stressed or tired, you will do mistakes. All our mistakes were done late at night when we should have stopped working a long time ago. I cut our last beam at the totally wrong length and have to go to the store the next day to buy another one. I wasn't happy that day, I can tell you that. Another thing was I drilled a hole in the wall at the totally wrong place. Luckily I did it at so low so you can't see it now. But in the end of the day, this project was fun, it was learning, and it was quite fast to complete. And the result is awesome. Now we have a custom-built shelf system that fits our need perfectly, and it goes in the same style as our terrarium at the other wall that we built a year ago. It may not be the most beautiful, but on the other hand, it's not the shelves we look at, it's the animals and the terrariums. So, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and maybe, just maybe, you would consider subscribing to our channel. If you do that, you will be one of the first to know when we post our next video. Until then, maybe you would like to check out some of our other videos we have on paludariums and when we feed our snakes, among others. And if you have any questions about building a shelf system for your terrariums, I'll be happy to answer them as good as I can in the comments below. So, have a nice day!